Welcome Julie creators. In today's video I'm going to show you how to create a quick scene for rendering in Keyshot. So let's get started. Very well, so open up your file, whatever you have your model that you're going to render, and prepare it. Make sure your prompts look great, your cutters, everything looks fantastic. So the first thing I do is I grab only the model or only the objects that I need. I'm just gonna copy them. And since I use Rhino, I can have multiple instances of Rhino open at the same time. So I'm just gonna copy all these files and we're gonna put them in a new scene. So here in this scene, I'm gonna dump everything in here. All right, so we have everything in here. Let's go on our layers. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're gonna label everything. So this is gonna be my ring 1. Turn it off. Okay, so ring 1. And we're gonna copy this one. This is gonna be, it's all grouped. Okay, let's ungroup that. Perfect. So that's gonna be changed to ring, or let's put it as a matching band. Matching band. This is going to be main ring. Okay, and now the most important part is also separating and grouping the stones. So these stones are grouped. Let's just grab them and group them together. Okay, those are grouped, and what I need to do is create another layer, and let's put let's just put matching BN Pave. Okay, change them there. We can change the color just so we can tell what it is. Okay, so that's great. This one, we'll move it down. So these two are done. Now we're gonna make sure that which one's the center. Okay, so this is the ring Pave. So let's label this ring Pave. And let's go to put main ring MR Pave. All right, so we know that that one is for that. And let's see, this is the center stone. So let's put center stone. Let's go a different color, maybe a little bit darker. Let's go here. Okay, so I know that that one's going to be the center stone for the main ring. Okay, so this one MR, that's the main ring. Okay, we got our center, we got our stones, we got the matching band, and we got the matching band pieces. Okay, while it's saving, I'm going to create my backdrop, and my backdrop is very easy. I just create a plane using the 4 points. It doesn't need to be perfect. What I really needed to be is I needed to be big. Let's start with that, and it's just as simple as bending it. Start from the center to the point, and I just bend it, and you know, try to get something that looks close to an actual studio. I think this is the best way that it can look. That we can start with that. Let's just shade it. Sure, okay, it's not bad. Let's go to our layers and let's say put in white, change, and let's do it like this light gray color. So let's grab it, let's go back to this file here and dump our backdrop. Okay, so let's create the scene. This needs to be bigger. Let's make them a lot bigger, probably around there. That's perfect, and I put it right at the as close as I can to the actual center of the plane, which is around here. Okay, that's the best way to start. Okay, so let me hide anything I'm not gonna work, and I'm gonna place this one first. Okay, so one of the tools that it helps me to quickly orient this to the C-plane is this tool right here that it's called orient in 2 points. So I'm gonna click from 1 point to the next one, let's say around here, and I'm gonna just click from here to here. There it is. It's already placed exactly where I need it. Okay, so I have that one, and now let's go with our other piece. Oh, okay, there's something going on there. So let's move this just a little bit in this direction. Let's see, Let's change it to this color so I can see it. Okay, so we don't want that there. So let's grab it from here and make sure it clears it. Okay, right there is perfect. Okay, so let's select the other model that we had. Select everything. And now we're gonna place it in top of this one. So let's grab our tool, orient from 2 options or 2 points. Let's start from here. And let's see, where does it match? Maybe around here. And I'm gonna lay it flat exactly from here. And let's see how far I can lay it. It looks like it can probably almost touch here at the bottom. Let's move it around. Yeah, that's about right. That looks actually pretty good. Okay, so once I'm happy of what my scene looks, all I have to do is just save it as a Keyshot or whatever rendering you're going to be using. Okay, so select everything and we're gonna save or export selected, because we only need the layers that we're selecting. All this extra is not needed, so we're just gonna select those and we're gonna go to export selected. So here in Keyshot, what you're going to do is just go to file and import, or you can just open. Just go open, and you're gonna look the folder you were using. This is the file that we save. Just put open. Make sure you have this clicked where it says key position relative to native orange, and just click import. It's gonna take a little while depending how much geometry you have in your file, and there it is. This is our initial piece. Looks okay. Control Shift just to drag it. That is actually pretty cool. Okay, so this is more or less the initial steps to start creating your scene. All you have to do now is just grab your materials if you have your materials. Let me see how it looks there. Okay, that's actually pretty good. Let's start from here. Let me go with my camera and a -90. Okay, and then our inclination is gonna be here. Okay, that looks a lot better. So make sure you put -90. If you put 90, it's gonna go on the other side, so just put -90. And in our camera, we're gonna save this scene, new camera, and just gonna put it YouTube tutorial. Okay, that's what we're gonna call that shot. So if you switch from different ones, you know that this one's always gonna be saved. All right, so let's apply some materials. Okay, that's like a garnet, and you can start with this. Now, if you don't like your backdrop, you can just hide the backdrop and you can use Keyshot's backdrop. I kind of like this one, but sometimes I really like the reflection that I can get on my own backdrop. So let's grab a material that I have created and just dump it in there. It just brings a little bit more reflection into the piece. It might look a little bit brighter, but that's really good. So I'm gonna go on my camera and let's change a little bit of the distance. Let's go a little closer. So right there, it looks okay. The last thing of the puzzle is gonna change my environment. Just choose the one that you really like. I'm gonna go to my environment tab and choose something that will look better on your rendering. All you have to do is just test. This one's actually pretty cool. So once you choose your environment, you can go back into the scene, turn off the backdrop, turn it back on. You know what? Let's see what the backdrop looks again. It's just, I like the reflections of that backdrop. Let's go in environment and let's drop this around 0.8. Just not so bright. I think that looks a little bit better. And I'm gonna change the position of the model. So I'm gonna click and click move. And here is where I can play with it. Let's start moving the rotation here. Let's leave 90. Let's go 30. Let's go in the other direction, minus, let's say 45. Okay, so it's changing my backdrop as well. Let's go back to 0. Let's open the models. So all you need to do is just move the layer out of that group. You're just gonna drag it outside that group. So now it's in the backdrop's independent. And now I can grab again all my materials that I need, and see, now I can change it. And let's just go minus 45 degrees. And right there, I really like what that shot might look like. So rotation still remembers, minus 45 degrees. Let's do minus 35. I think 45 is too much. 25? No, minus 25. Okay, and right there, that's pretty much it. I think that's a good render shot that I can send. You can play with the background materials. All I'm gonna do is check my image. You can change more your environment, your lighting. They have this tab that is called for jewelry. You can click on it and it makes the scene a little bit better. Sometimes I don't like it as much as I would like to, but you can play with them. You can leave it in custom, and this is actually a pretty cool tab. Or basic, you know, that works as well. Right here I can see a little bit more of the separation and the stones. I might like that, so make sure that you just play around and choose which one you will like better. The stones might look a little bit better in this one, so let's just leave it there because that's one for jewelry. Okay, and now we're just gonna go to your render tab, select that folder. So now I know, so I'm gonna create my rendering in there, and let's just call it YouTube Keyshot tutorial 1. Okay, let's just name it that way. And here's where you put your presets. DPI 500 is way too much. Let's just leave it at 300. I think 300 to 100 is max what I use. Presets 1280, that's the max that I would use. I would recommend you 1024. That's really good. I don't click any of these because I really don't do a lot of post-processing. It looks great from the get-go. So, and especially, you know, if you don't know what this is for, there's no need for you to have this. You can save it as a JPEG. It's just a little bit lower resolution and it still looks great. I would recommend you, if you're just gonna send a picture to a customer, or you're just gonna quick post for Instagram, just leave it at JPEG, and the quality, leave it at around 99%. And that'll be pretty much it. Just hit render. So once you run a few tests, all you have to do is perfect your scene. I'm going to show you real quick how I get a different ton of color stones without having to change too many settings. So what I do is I go into, let's say, this center stone. I'll double click on it, or I double click in the actual material. And what I would change right away is the transparency distance. I would change it maybe from 7 to maybe 15 and see how the color affects. See, it's a little bit lighter. Probably you want something a little bit darker. I think we had it at 5. Let's use 5. Go back, so it's darker. It's more like a tourmaline, more than a ruby. Let's go around 7. 7's a little bit better, and just go on your color and just change it a little bit. Make sure you use a picture reference. Usually that would be ideal to grab a picture of an actual stone and try to imitate that color instead of trying to guess too much. That at least you have a guidance there. That way it looks a little bit better now. It still needs a lot of work, but for a quick demonstration, you can play with all the settings and get a better color on your stone. Another thing that I would recommend you is that you go into your environment and make sure you change the brightness to not too bright, not too dull, so all your stones will look a little better. But in the camera settings, there's something I really like to use, which is called the depth of field. I'm going to create a depth of field. It's not going to look great. So what you do is the first thing on my f-stop, I would, just like I do on the camera, maybe let's use, let's start at 50 f-stop. I'm going to click this button here and I'm going to select a piece in the point in my model. That creates a little bit of a depth of field, or that blurriness that you get in real cameras, and that makes it look a little bit more realistic. I think that's a great feature that most rendering engines have. You can play with a focal length or anything else in here. I usually don't change much, maybe just the distance, maybe it's a little too far. Let's go a little closer, but the depth of field is going to change a little bit, so let's put it there. Let's do 67. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's go back into our depth of field, select the point, and let's click right in here. It would change it. It makes it look a little bit better. Click OK, and that way you start seeing that blurriness within the ring. If that is too much, just go in here and go in increments of 25. I'll go to 75 now. That looks a lot better. Another thing that I would recommend you, especially in gold, that it seems that I get very good results is with the roughness. I don't leave it completely clean. I add a little bit of roughness into it, and that's just so the reflections are not so harsh. It just brings that smoothness that you would see in a lot of processed product on the internet. So now what you can add in this image, you can use this called bloom, and the radius could be a little bit more, and just it creates this little bit of glow into the piece. I'm not too fond of it, but if you add a little bit, it just brings the piece alive a little bit more. Don't overdo it, because then it's gonna look very unnatural. So just use very little increments. Just add a little bit of bloom to the piece, so it pops up when your clients will see it. Okay, another quick tip, as you saw how I was moving around my models, going to position is -25. Usually that's what I do. I would start at 0. Let's grab here and start at 0, and I will create my first shot. Let's drag it right into center. I'll create my first shot here, and I would just hit render. Yes. Let's bring it up. It's gonna render my scene. Just click OK. Okay, once I'm happy with that, we're gonna go back into our model, go to position, and let's do -25 degrees. That will look a little better. Go into the depth of field, make sure it's focused on a point that you're gonna be happy with. I changed a little bit there. Click done. And now we hit render. We do the same. Let's number 2, just hit render. It's gonna ask you to unsave. It's okay, just render. Just hit exit, and this way you create really quick a few renders, a few shots. If you want to create other different type of positions in the ring, you know what to do. Just doing Rhino. Go back into your scene. Let's see, where were we? Let's open it up real quick. So that was the initial we used. Just go open. And what I would do for the next one, let's just say I go in here and I'm gonna select all this. Well, at least let's start with, and let's put it up right. Select from here to here. Okay, let's put the ring. Maybe this one here. Then we're gonna select this one and do the same. We're gonna find a point where we can rotate it, maybe from here to here. Let's rotate the ring. And we put it somewhere here. Double click, we look at it. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Just to create a different kind of scene, I'm gonna rotate it here in this direction, just so I can get a really good render right now. Let's put it around here. Make sure you center the ring right into the center of the X, Y, and Z axis in Rhino. Let's go back in here. Let's make sure we put it right on the center of the axis. This will help you as you rotate the ring for the positions. You don't have to position it again in Keyshot, and that's an immense help. Let's unselect that one. Let's put this one up a little bit, right around there. Okay, so I have like my second scene. Maybe this direction is not ideal, so we select everything and we're gonna rotate from center right in here. See, it's right center. I check here, it's right on center. So when I make the rendering, let's say I do it this angle, and that way you can see it. Maybe you move it a little bit more, you can play with it, but at least I have my second scene and I can just grab this scene and grab everything and export select. Let's call it Keyshot scene 2 and save. I don't need to do anything else to this, so new. No, I don't want to save it, and just open. So let's go back to Keyshot. If you're happy with this settings and you want to save this as a scene, all I need to do is select the items that I use and just you can just hit delete, and it'll ask you if you want to delete them, and I'll say yes. And now just import or grab the last model that we used. Let's see, where are we? We open our second one, just put import. There it is. We go into camera, make sure you take off depth of field, otherwise it's gonna look very blurry like this. So it's not gonna look great. So go in there. Let's zoom in into our model. Control Shift just to move it around. That's a good view. Go into camera, and you want to save this view. So YouTube tutorial. Let's move it around there. Zoom in. Okay, so let's go in here. Make sure this one's minus 90, so it's right center. And just click right here in this bottom that looks like save. Just save it. And we go back into our materials. I already have the ones I have saved. We use rose gold. Rose gold there. We put a little rose gold here. Let's use the white tile. It might be a little too much, so I'm gonna play with the settings. Let's add our diamonds. And which stone did I use? I think I used this one. Or was it this one? I'm still working on these materials to see which one would be the best option to use. But okay, I think that's the one I use. You can still save them over when you have your materials. Make sure you update it as best as you can. So okay, so let's turn on depth of field. It's not gonna look great. Select that point, click somewhere in the piece, and change the f-stop around 75. I think that's the last one we use. And there it is. So if you can find the pieces, just you need to change that f-stop. That's a little bit better. Let's go back into the scene. Let's make sure we have that background. Either we remove it, and let's take it out of this group. Just move it out of that group, put it like next to the model. That way it's independent. And when we select the model, we can rotate it with ease. So let's rotate in the y-axis minus, I think we use 25. Let's use 25 in this time. That looks okay. I can do a little bit more. Let's do 35. Let's do 45. No, 45 is too much. Let's just leave it at 35 or 30. 30 looks great. So Control Shift, I'm gonna center it a little bit, and that's how I start creating the scenes. It's not, I don't have like just one way to do it. You need to play with your environments to get the right lights. Right here it looks a little bit much, so I might drop this to probably 0.6, just so it's not so harsh. So make sure you play with it. You can add lights if you want. It's just as going to your HDR and just click right here, add a pin. In this pin, what's really cool is like if you have an area that you're not getting a lot of light on, just click on it. You select where you want to set the highlight, and let's say I want to put it here. Let's grab it and let's select here. It's gonna move it into somewhere in the direction that you can highlight that area, so you can create a few of them. I can select it again and say, well, maybe not there, maybe here, maybe on the stone. So play in a few places where you think that light can help you create, and you can just duplicate them as well. I go and I duplicate that pin and I select that pin and I tell them, well, that one I want you to light up on this side. That way you create those points, and you can change the intensity and the radius as well. There's a lot of settings that you should play with it. So maybe one's too much, I'll put 0.8 on that light. This one as well, let's just do 0.8 so it's not so bright. And that's how you start creating your environment. And now if you're happy with it, let's say you're happy with this particular environment and you saved everything, all you have to do is delete all the materials that are in here. Say I select this too. First we're gonna save the scene, so save as, and let's just call it YouTube test 2. We save the scene, save it, and to save like a template, the way I do it, I just select all my materials, I delete them, and I save this as is. So let's go here and put save as, and I'll put it like I'm in my initial hard drive, and I just put a start up scene YouTube tutorial, and I just put save, and that's my startup scene. So every time I create new scenes within Rhino, I just bring them in here and I have I start creating my rendering. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If you like this content, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the bell button on YouTube so I'll let you know every time we make new videos. All right, friends, take care. I will see you in the next video. Ciao.